Hey guys, my name is Francisco Hernandez, and today I'm doing another episode in my Building the Shot series, which is a series where I break down everything I can about how a single photo of mine was taken. In today's video, I'm going to go over this image on the screen here of Victoria from a photo shoot I did with my friend Joe. Joe actually invited me to the shoot, so I want to say big thanks to Joe for the invite, Victoria for doing such a great job at modeling, and also my nephew Ryan for not only assisting on the photo shoot, but taking some photos at the end as well. The photo of Victoria for today's video was taken during the day, a little bit after golden hour, I want to say, or during golden hour. But in case you guys are curious about how I take photos at night, then you definitely should check out the previous episode in this series where I go over how I took this photo on the screen here of Sam from a night photo shoot that I did not too long ago. The link will be in the top right corner of the screen as well as in the description area below. The gear that I used for this photo shoot was the Sony a7R III with the Sigma Art 105 f1.4. I do love my Sigma Art 35 1.2 for getting a lot of scenery in the shot, but whenever I want to just blur the heck of the background and get some good compression in my shots, then I'll use the Sigma Art 105 1.4. The lighting that I used was the Godox AD300 Pro, also known as the Explorer 300 Pro. I did use it at half power, so not full power, so that means that I could have used another light like the Godox AD200 to get the same results. The modifier that was used was the Glow Easy Lock 42-inch beauty dish. I do typically use my 34-inch beauty dish, but since we wanted to get a nice even spread of light and softer light, we used the 42-inch instead. The light stand that I used for this photo was the Flashpoint C stand. It's my favorite stand right now. It does have a lot of weight to it, but I think that weight does actually help in making it sturdy on the ground. So in case you guys have an assistant or don't mind the weight at all, I definitely recommend the Flashpoint C stand. If you guys tend to work in areas like myself where you can haul around your gear in a cart, I highly recommend getting the extended version of the foldable cart that I was previously using, because the extended version allows so much more space and allows me to actually put my C-stand and my light stands and other stuff in there as well, when previously with the other shorter cart, I couldn't do that. The last piece of equipment that I want to talk about is very important, and it's the 6-stop ND filter that goes directly over the camera sensor. You guys can see it right here, if it focuses, right here. It allowed me to get 6 stops of darkness on the photo when there's no other option out there that allows me to do that. As I was making this video, I was looking up to see if there's any other ND filters that are 6 stops that I can use with this Sigma Art 105 1.4, and there wasn't. The only option that I was seeing that might have worked was the Lee filter system, but they said on their website that the 105mm filter adapter wasn't gonna work with this lens. And even if it did work with this lens, I was only seeing 1, 2, 3, and 4 stop ND filters, nothing that was in the range of 6 stops. A lot of you guys have been asking me, why are you using an ND filter instead of high-speed sync? And the number one reason is that when you use high-speed sync, anything past a certain speed on your camera, for me that's 1/250th, once you pass that speed, you go into high-speed sync and you experience a huge drop in power. I am going to make a video explaining this in much more detail, but for now, one example that I thought would blow you guys' mind is that if I were to use this 600 Pro, this big 600 Pro in high-speed sync, I would get less power than this Godox AD300 Pro with an ND filter without high-speed sync. So you guys can see for yourself, there is a very big difference in the size, and you can't see the weight, but I can feel it for sure. There's a big difference, so I would definitely recommend using an ND filter, or at least trying it out, because what it allows you to do is use your smaller lights to do the exact same job as you would with high-speed sync and the bigger lights. So now that you guys know everything about the gear, if you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But for now, let's go into Lightroom so you guys can see my thought process and how we got to that final photo of Victoria. What you're seeing on the screen right now is a shot of Victoria without the light on at all. I took this shot so you guys can see exactly how the light looks like with just ambient light, no artificial lighting at all. And you guys should take notice of the settings. I'm at 1/100th of a second, f1.4, which is my widest aperture, at the lowest native ISO, which is ISO 100. If I were to take this exact same exposure without the 6-stop ND filter, then I would just need to go 6 stops darker on the shutter speed, which is 1/6400th. Whenever I'm doing a photo shoot with anyone, I try to look at how the light, the existing ambient light, is falling on the subject and see how I would want that light to be first before thinking about how the artificial lighting like the Godox AD300 Pro will be. So you guys can see exactly how that is here. You can see that there's some sunlight hitting her shoulder or her elbow and a little bit on the back of her leg. I actually really like it how it's hitting her leg because it's providing nice separation from the background. Since the rim light and the existing natural light looked good to me, I then added the artificial lighting, which is the Godox AD300 Pro at 1/4 power. And you guys can see that it is angled a little bit towards her waist. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, I did use the 42-inch dish so that I could get a more even spread of light from head to toe. So if I were to raise the light higher and hit more towards the top portion of her body or her face, then they would fall a little bit less onto her legs and make that section darker and a little bit shade different of color. So I tried to aim for the waist, which would then kind of blend into the head and blend in towards the toe so that I can get, again, that more even spread of light. After I took this photo, I just took another 2 shots, I believe, with just her shoulders and head just a little bit differently. Victoria does a great job at modeling, and although she does like to flow pose, which is changing the pose after every single shot, I am a big fan of not doing that. I try to nail down the pose and everything else and keep the same pose. And then once I take a shot that I'm happy with, then go on. But again, with Victoria here, she just changed a little bit of the shoulder and her head. So you see this shot, and then you see this one, and then you see this next shot with her head just tilted up a little bit more. In this very next shot, what you'll see is that I did go a little bit further to the left side, which gave me more of the sky in the shot. At this point, I was not exactly too happy with the images. I felt like there was something off. So what I did in this shot here was I moved a little bit to the left and grabbed more of the sky. And after I took that shot, I thought, no, that's not it. That's not exactly what I think is missing. Maybe I want less ambient. So I went ahead and just adjusted my shutter from 1/100th of a second to 1 stop darker, which is 1/200th. And I got this photo here. Previously, my light was at 1/4 power in this shot. So when it came to this photo here, I was at 1/2 power. So because I adjusted the ambient to be 1 stop darker, my light needed to be 1 stop brighter. So 1/4 to 1/2 power. Whenever you adjust the ambient to be darker, what you'll sacrifice is a more natural looking shot, but you'll gain other things like a nice colorful sky and a more even exposure in that sky. So I felt like it was justified because I really do like the colors in the sky now more than it was before. So at this point, I do like the ambient exposure and the lighting, but I felt like that barrier here on the side that was actually providing a little bit more depth, in my opinion, to the shot. I actually like that more than the more open sky. And I actually felt with this exact composition that the sky was providing just too much empty space there. So I decided to switch my composition again and grabbed this photo. And I actually was happy with this photo, not exactly 100%, but I was pretty happy with it. So I grabbed this shot, a little bit further back shot, and I like this one. And after I like a shot and the light is in my way, I have to stay exactly still and grab another shot without the lighting. And then I could Photoshop the light and the modifier out. And the only reason why it's in the shot is because it was nice and soft at that distance. Of course, I can move the light further away and raise the power, but the light won't be as soft. So sometimes I'll just go ahead and Photoshop it out for that softness. So once I took this photo without the light in the way, I then thought maybe I'll grab closer, more intimate shots and see how I like those. Maybe those will be the winner shots. So I took this photo and I really liked it. And then I took this photo and I really liked that one as well. But one thing that I screwed up is that I didn't take a photo without the modifier out of the way. So if I really wanted to publish this shot anywhere online, I'd have to go ahead and use different Photoshop tricks to remove the light in the way. When I took this photo, I was really happy with it, but I wanted to grab a full body shot and be really happy with that kind of composition. So I decided to take another chance, another try to get a full body shot that I was really happy with. And I took this photo. Obviously the car's in the way. So I took another shot, pretty much the exact same shot, but without that car. After I took this photo, I thought maybe the thing that I'm not 100% happy about is the pose. Because if you guys remember, if you guys saw the photos right now, that the whole time that we've been taking photos up to this point, she's been leaned into that pole that she's on and nothing else. She might have changed her shoulders and her face just a little bit, but she's been leaned into that. So at this point, I thought maybe if you lean a little bit away from that pole, we'll get something that's better. So I took this photo here. I saw a little bit of the rim light hitting her back and I thought, yeah, this is probably gonna look way better. So I asked her, maybe you can lean your head away from the pole as well and see how that looks. And I actually did make a mistake. I asked her to change her arm pose as well. So in this next shot, you'll see her arm is different. I actually prefer it to be out of the pocket. But what I do like is the way that the rim light is hitting the back of her head and the fact that she's no longer leaned away into that pole. So I was in a good direction right now. Immediately after I took the shot, I thought, okay, I think this is where I want it to be. I think this is how I want the shot to look like. So I asked her to turn towards me, and then I tried to time it so that their hair was blowing a little bit in the wind. So that's why you have this shot here. When we got to this point, I thought this is the image that I want to share. So let me go ahead and take another photo without the light in the way. When I took this photo without the light, what I didn't anticipate was the fact that Victoria was going to lean more with her upper body, lean away from that pole. And when I took this shot, I thought that actually looks better. So let's go ahead and grab some shots with her leaned away from the pole. And let's go a little bit more dramatic. Let's have her lean more into the light and away from the pole. So that ended up being this shot here. And I actually really do like this shot. I like the mood in it, and I like the hair. Even though a lot of you guys might not like the hair, I really do like it. But of course, I thought, you know what? A lot of people might be bugged about the hair, so let's grab a safe shot without the hair in the way. And that ended up being this photo here, which is the final photo that we were happy with and that I was really happy with. So the last thing I had to do was just grab a shot without the light in the way, and then a behind the scenes, which is this right here, and then I was good. What you're seeing right now is the shot completely unedited, no adjustments at all. But after I made the adjustments that I really thought would really improve the shot, this is how the shot looks like, and I'll show you exactly what I did. I'm gonna start on the top and work my way down. You can see that I did adjust the exposure, the highlights, the shadows, and the whites, and also brought up the vibrance just a little bit. I also did adjust the colors a lot. So you can see the saturation, and you can actually see the hue is also changed a lot. Here's the before, and here is the after. Another thing I did add was a little bit of sharpness. I went from, I think 40, the default is, to 60. And I also enabled profile corrections. If you guys are curious to see how it looks like before and after the lens correction, here is the before and here is the after. I actually really do like how it looks like before. So sometimes the lens correction isn't always the best thing, but that's what I did for this image. And here on the bottom, you can see that I did bring up the saturation on the blue primary section, and that really brings out the colors. Usually the oranges and the blues get the most color, so that kind of really helped out this shot because there's a lot of blue and orange. The only other thing I did aside from that is I did make the eyes pop a little bit more. So let me go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see exactly what I did to the eyes. Here is the before and here is the after. And after that, I moved into Photoshop and I'll show you guys exactly what I did there. Now we're here in Photoshop, and one thing I did forget to show you guys, I'm sorry, is that I didn't show you guys how I removed the light in post, but it's honestly not that complicated. And this is another thing that I want to show in an upcoming video. So again, stay tuned for that. But here is the edit. I do have a Photoshop action that's coming soon, and that's something that I've been using in a lot of my photos lately. And it basically creates a layer or a group for frequency separation, dodge and burn, and then adjusting the colors. So that's exactly what you're gonna see color coded right here on the side. I also am gonna make a full length editing tutorial on this shot. So I'm gonna explain everything in that video. So in today's video, in this video, I'll show you guys just kind of a quick version of the edit. The very first thing I did was do frequency separation to make a little bit of the arm and the outfit a little bit smoother. So you guys can see that here's the before and here's the after. I also applied some dodge and burn. So here's the before and here's the after. Here's the next section, the color section, the before and the after. I really leaned into those oranges because again, her outfit is orange and there's a lot of orange in the photo that I can work with. So I wanted to make it, make her outfit work well with the scene. So I added a lot of orange to the image. I felt like the image was a little dark, so I added a little bit of brightness to the image, which you guys can see there. I then removed some distractions that were going on because you can see that there's some wire going here and this metal thing on the bottom here. And also this highlight is actually pretty strong too. So I used the clone snap tool to just bring some of this highlight up there. And that's what's going on in this next layer. And then I just did a little bit of liquify and then sharpened the image using the filter, other high pass filter method. And after that, that's pretty much everything I did to edit this image. Hope you guys learned something from this video. I hope it helped. And I'll see you guys in the very next video. Take care.